Hey, what's up? Adam Badger from Badger Strength. Today we're going to go over how to eat pretty much any foods you like while still losing weight and also maintaining weight loss after the fact. Now, if you haven't figured it out by now, I'm a nutrition coach and a personal trainer. This is something that I help people with every day. I've been helping people with this for nearly 10 years at this point. Diet tends to get overly complicated, especially when you're reading a ton of articles, watching a ton of YouTube videos, consuming a lot of content. There's a lot of noise out there when it comes to what's the best diet to lose weight. I'm sure you've heard things about not eating carbs, maybe just eating meat, maybe going vegan, intermittent fasting, and pretty much any diet you've ever heard of comes down to a strategy to reduce your overall calorie intake. Now, if you understand that concept, you can apply that umbrella, that concept to pretty much any style of eating that you prefer. Now, there is no right or wrong way to do this. It's all about personal preference. So, for example, the keto diet involves completely cutting out carbohydrates from your diet. So, if you like carbs, then I probably wouldn't recommend trying the keto diet because it's probably not going to be sustainable for you. Now, the keto diet, because it cuts out an entire food group, by doing that, it reduces your overall calorie intake because there's this entire group of food that you're used to eating, and now you're not eating it anymore. So if you look at a normal plate of food and it's a protein, a carb, and a fat, you take away the carb, even if you increase the protein and the fat a little bit, you're probably not replacing all those calories. And that's why people lose weight on keto. The issue is that they don't understand that that is why they've lost weight. So then they think they either need to be keto or they're going to gain weight back. Same rule applies for intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting involves only eating during a set window of time during the day. So for some people, let's say they're going to fast from 8 p.m. to 12 p.m. So from 8 p.m. at night to 12 p.m. the next day, they're not eating at all. And then they can only eat between the hours of 12 p.m. and 8 p.m. the next day. That's a pretty typical way that people approach intermittent fasting. What that's going to do is it's just going to reduce your calorie intake because there's these big chunks of time that you're not eating throughout the day. Now, this is probably not sustainable for most people because if you want to have breakfast with your kids, now you can't. If you get invited to breakfast or if you happen to go to a late dinner, you're not allowed to eat. But again, people don't understand that the reason they're losing weight is because of the calorie balance. They're reducing their calorie intake, so they're losing weight. If you understand that, you don't have to be restricted to an eating window. You don't have to be restricted to only eating certain food groups. Now you can apply that calorie balance principle to pretty much any eating style you like. I would say for most people, this is going to involve a balanced diet, having adequate protein and then some fats and some carbs in your diet as well. So again, if you understand total calories are all that matter, you can now apply that principle to pretty much any style of eating that you prefer. Now, there are a few parameters that you have to stay within. One is the calories. So you have to have like a calorie window, and I'll go over how to establish what your calorie window is. But you have to have a calorie window, meaning that you have a minimum amount of calories and a maximum amount of calories that you're allowed for that day, and the goal is to stay in that range. Now, this is much easier than trying to set like a one hard calorie number. So this gives you a little bit more flexibility. The other parameter is you have to make sure you're eating enough protein throughout the day. Protein is going to keep you full. It's going to keep your muscles building after workouts. It's going to lead you to more balanced food choices throughout the day. It's going to help balance your blood sugar throughout the day. So eating enough protein is extremely important. It is the second most important thing behind the total calories for the day. So this advice applies to anyone trying to either lose weight, get stronger, build muscle, or get in better shape. It does not really apply to someone who's a super advanced figure competitor trying to get down to single-digit body fat for one day on stage. That person needs to be very, very strict and very, very strategic with the way they apply this information. For you who's watching this, because I don't really work with any advanced figure competitors, if you're watching this, it means you probably are interested in losing weight and doing it in a sustainable way that allows flexibility so you don't have to give up your favorite foods or your social life. And this applies to you. So first thing you're going to want to do is figure out your calorie window. Now, assuming that your goal is to lose weight, how you would do that is you would take your body weight, your goal body weight. So let's say you're someone who wants to get from 200 pounds to 150 pounds for easy math. You would do 150 multiplied by 12 and multiplied by 10. And that would give you your calorie window to stay within. So 150 times 10 would be 1,500. 150 times 12 is about 1,800 calories. So you would want to stay between 1,500 and 1,800 calories on any given day. Now, 300 calories is a pretty big swing. I usually recommend tightening a little bit to 200 calories. So that would either be 1,600 to 1,800 or 1,500 to 1,700. Neither is wrong or right. You can try one for a couple of weeks. If you're losing weight on it, you stick to it. If you're losing weight too fast, increase the calorie amount. If you're not losing weight at all, you can always decrease it. My guess is if you're actually tracking your food accurately, this is totally fine calorie amount to stay within. If your goal is 150 pounds, adjust it based on your body weight. But we're using 150 pounds for now. If your goal is, if this for the same person whose goal is to go from 200 pounds to 150 pounds, they would do 150 multiplied by 1. That's your protein goal for the day. So this hypothetical person who's trying to go from 200 pounds to 150 pounds would be trying to eat 1,600 to 1,800 calories a day and about 150 grams of protein. This is where, individualization comes in. You have to structure the diet and the approach to the individual person. How many meals a day do they like to eat? What foods do they like? Have they ever eaten that much protein before? If they haven't, we have to start there and get them to their protein goal first. This is where coaching comes in. But these are your non-negotiable staples that you have to at least work around. So if you hear those numbers and you're like, or you do the calculations on your own for your own body weight and you go, wow, these seem really high. I don't know if I could ever eat that much protein, or those calories seems like too high to lose weight on. My advice to you is you just have to try it. You have to stick with it. You have to develop the habits to get you there. So now when we're breaking macronutrients down, so macros are your carbs, fats, and protein. Carbs and protein both have 4 calories for every gram. Fat has 9 calories for every gram. So if you are understanding this concept, right, you have your calorie ceiling or calorie range you have to stay within. Your fats, carbs, and protein are what get you there. But we're only worrying about our calories and our protein right now. So if you have 150 grams of protein for this hypothetical diet, right, 1,600 calories to 1,800 calories, your protein goal is 150. 150 multiplied by 4, because protein is 4 calories per gram, that's 600 calories. That means of a 1,600 to 1,800 calorie day, only 600 of your calories are going to be from protein. Now, there's going to be some, residual calories there because, most protein sources have some fat in it too. So we'll even increase that and say you're going to get about 800 calories from your protein sources throughout the day. That leaves you with 800 to 1,000 calories left over to eat whatever you want. Like, how cool is that, right? You meet your protein goal, which is 150 grams, and let's give some extra calories to that goal because most protein sources are going to have fat in them too. Even chicken has like a gram of fat. So we'll say you're going to get about 800 to 900 calories from your protein for the day. You now have 800 to almost 1,000 calories left over to do whatever you want with. So let's take a glass of wine. A glass of wine is about 150 to 170 calories. You can fit that in there. Let's take a cookie, like an Oreo cookie. It's probably like 80-ish calories. You can fit a couple of those in there. Let's take chips. The average serving of chips is about 150 to 200 calories. You could easily fit those in there. As you approach this process, what you'll find is that if you're giving most of your calories to more whole, nourishing foods like potatoes, rice, vegetables, and fruits, you'll feel more full throughout the day and you'll be able to eat a higher volume of food. But again, if your goal is to do this for a lifetime, you do not have to eat like that every day. You have this giant number of calories that you can play around with on a day-to-day basis. Again, it's very important and it's very beneficial to have some structure to your day. To say, I'm going to eat about 3 to 4 meals a day. That's going to have X amount of protein. And I'm going to pair that protein with a vegetable or fruit and a potato or rice or oatmeal or something like that. It's going to lead to more balanced meals. But as you're approaching this process, you do not have to live in the, oh my God, I ate chips, so I screwed up my diet. I had a glass of wine, so I screwed up my diet. Or I had a cookie, so I screwed up my diet. Because you can now understand that you have all these calories to play with. So if you know on a Friday night, you want to go out for ice cream with your kids, or you want to go out for date night with your husband or wife, or you want to just chill and have a couple glasses of wine, you now have the tools to prepare for that. Because all you have to do is hit your protein goal, and then you can play around with the rest of the calories to fit those foods in. And you will still continue to lose weight and keep it off as long as you keep applying these principles. So I hope that's very helpful to you. If you are someone who's lived in the all or nothing mindset before and you feel like eating a chip or eating a cookie could throw you completely off your diet and ruin your progress, this is concrete evidence and factual proof that you cannot ruin your diet with these small little choices, because you're going to have all these calories to play with on a day-to-day basis. The reason why people don't see success normally is because they put too many rules on their diet, and it leads to frustration, stress, and it leads them to say, well, what's the point? And they go the other way. So I hope this information is helpful. Try applying it.